Hello, trading is closed on May 7th, 2019. We'll go over our calls. We had a target of 29.1684, and that printed easily. I said that based on the information I had last night, that I would like to see support holding this level and a filling of this gap because the pattern was on with the early low and the late high. I also said if I had more information, I might have to change my mind. Well, it was clear before the open this support wasn't going to hold. So before the open, it was obvious you weren't going to get a recovery. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up first. We had a big drop. We get to cross this target off the list. The price wasn't very helpful back when it printed over a month ago, but it certainly helped identify a support level today. During the day, here MEJT said ultimately higher prices would print, which they did. Here it gave a sell signal that's already worked. We have mixed indicators from today's trade. We have gapping down a series of lows, can't hold these early lows. It's a positive pattern unless it's invalidated by gapping and promptly taking out this low. It's negative that this is a pattern which usually closes near the day's high, and unless we gap up and take out this high promptly, lower prices should print. So the conflicting signals mean the commonest thing is we gap outside the day's range, next most common, close it'll change, and least common by a large margin, either one of those things happen. This was pretty bad news about China, but let's not forget the market doesn't top on such news. It tops on good news, not bad news, so no matter how far we drop, I think we're going to see this equivalent to futures price. I think we're going to see higher prices. We just don't have the deterioration in breadth that marks a major top. We do have quite a lot of support here besides MEJT support. This is the Bollinger Band. We went under it when it was flat. If you're dropping and the band is declining, you can just keep on dropping and follow along. But if it's flat, it doesn't usually last very long. It could start dropping tomorrow, but as of now, that's what it says. This is a 10-week exponential moving average. You can see how when you're dropping, it's resistance. When you're rallying, it's support. I wanted to close this thing out. Here's the new and the old volatility index. That's the new, that's the old. When you print a bar completely over a band like this, it's a sign of panic selling. There really isn't a signal till you reverse, but reverses after a bar is so far out of the norm, so far out of the band, is not something that would surprise me. So tomorrow's a pattern with the early low. There's a chance we gap and promptly move outside the day's range. It's pretty brave to call for a possible gap over this high. Who knows? But I think we have good support here. And if the bears are going to get more out of it on this drop, they're going to have to gap and take this low out promptly. I think it's possible if we get a deal with China after all, that all the people who sold here are going to be trapped. So we have no targets for tomorrow, but the open in the early trade should be telling, because if that holds, there's a good chance that's going to fall. And that's today's call.